go K-Shed, go K-Shed, go K-Shed, go K-Shed. K-Shed, Uncuffed. Episode numero diez. Yeah, man, let's do this. I guess you wonder why I said that in Espanol. Well, I'm about to tell you. So, last night I get this DM on Instagram from the cat or the girl who regulates this site or name, Barcelona Dragons 1991. So they sent me this link, and when you open it up, it's this of the documentary that highlights our 1996 year in the World League, from start of the season to the end, and it was fantastic. It brought up so many different memories, from just seeing all those young faces that I was out there competing with on the team, just big name people who that at one point they were big names in the either college or NFL, and something just happened to derail their career, and they were trying to get it jump started again. So they headed on off to the World League. Sound familiar? That was definitely my case. So just seeing those Warriors faces again on that documentary, and not only were they shown playing football, but they were out. We were out and about in the community, and embracing the love that we were receiving from the Spanish fans who knew nothing about American football. All they know about is real football, in their words, which is soccer. And they gave American football a chance, and it was a great experience being out there. Taught me a lot of different things about the world, really. I mean, there's so much history in that country anyway. Spain is a beautiful place to go visit. And, it's what regenerated my football career. And I will always owe them a debt. And so when they send me videos and messages here and there, just checking on me and seeing how I'm doing, it really means a lot. And I can't wait to go back out there and visit them. And it sounds like they're having a reunion that they're going to be setting up back there soon. So I hope to be able to go out there and kind of see the stadium where we played and be around that culture again. It was a fantastic experience. And so one of the things that I got out of it was my opportunity to play back in the NFL in this particular time with the Oakland Raiders at that time. So there's a reason why I wanted to lead with that, is because it introduces who my guest is going to be today, the highly respected, highly esteemed, very well made individual, from the mindset to the tenacity to the vision to the just the generosity and good nature of it all. Miss Amy Trask, who at the time was an attorney, one of on the council for the Raiders at the time when I was there. That's where she started out, and then she worked her way up. But she was the backbone of that organization for a lot of different reasons. She kept things calm in the craziest and the most stressful situations. She was the face of reason and the voice of reason. And Mr. Al Davis, had a plan in place when he made her the first female president or executive of an NFL team, of an NFL franchise, back in the days. And she excelled in her position like no other. And one of the things that she taught me, and you guys will get a chance to hear her words yourself, but one of the things that she taught me was keeping it real. Having a personality that just stays true to yourself is so important. And I can't stress that enough, how important it is to as you continue on in life's trials and dealing with life's different curveballs that are going to be thrown at you, you have to keep the same approach or same personality, you would think, as you keep going forward. So I kind of took it and I kind of created my own like little form of that way of thinking. I don't want to say that I don't like fake people. I just prefer being around people who know how to maintain their personality no matter what the situation is. There's many times when at the police department where you would be joking around with the group of your coworkers here and there, and then all of a sudden a supervisor would come by, and I know from my experience, because I came up with that particular supervisor, I know his or her personality. They like to have fun and they like to joke too. We're in a safe environment. We're at the station. It's not like we're on scene where people are looking and people are watching, and critical of how we're acting. We can be loose and we can kind of be real people. So if we're talking about, the Raiders football game and, what call Gruden made or what he said afterwards to the reporters because he was mad at something, that's funny stuff and that's cool stuff. So I know for a fact that same supervisor, or in this particular case, the chief, would always come up and ask me, "Hey, Kenny, so the Raiders going to win this weekend? Or what's going on here? And we would spend however many minutes or whatever talking about the team and what was going on, and I'd throw in a story here and there, but then I'd tell them how I felt that the game was going to be tough for these reasons. And I know for a fact that chief loved to hear about that stuff. I mean, it was a way for him to connect with just another one of his employees here at the place, and I knew that from me growing up in the police department. I had that person as a supervisor, as a sergeant. I had him as a lieutenant. I had him as as captain, and his personality pretty much maintained that same type of jovial, very friendly demeanor, but he also had the same expectations that you were going to go out there and do your job when you did leave the station and you were out and about and you were with the community, to handle yourself with dignity and pride and don't do anything to embarrass the police department. That's how he was. But at when it was time to relax and all that stuff, he wanted to play around and have fun and talk whatever with his other employees. So in this particular case, I'm sitting there with one of the other employees. Obviously, I'm not going to say that person's name, and we're joking around about what Gruden said one time. It was super funny. If I can remember it, this is what happened. So I guess the Raiders played against the Kansas City Chiefs one time, and so basically the bus driver. I can't remember exactly how the story went, but the bus driver did like a lap, or he took his time or whatever, getting them to the stadium or something like that. And Gruden took exception to that. He didn't like that, and he brought it up. And the bus driver had some smart aleck remark back, which was so unprofessional and stuff. But it just shows you the type of just the silliness that comes with the AFC rival teams and stuff like that, especially the Chiefs. Their fans are so nasty to deal with. I used to sneak down there to the tailgates that they would have before the games and stuff like that, and I'm in regular street clothes and stuff, and just hearing how they talked about the Raiders was something else. You had mayors and all those people, government officials, getting up there talking about, we're gonna kick those devils' butts, and calling us all kinds of names and stuff. It was crazy. But also at the same time, it's like, man, let me hurry get out of here before they realize that I am one of those guys that they're talking about. I would just make them pay the next day on the field. So anyway, but I guess this bus driver said something that was so disrespectful to Gruden and Gruden's team, and he didn't like that. And so he remembered it. So when the Raiders played the Chiefs again, I think either the following year, um, they had their bus driver do a victory lap around the stadium, around their parking lot. It was classic. It was classic. And the Chiefs fans were hot. The media just totally just went after them for doing that and stuff. And I just had a blast telling that story. Because I support a lot of things. Obviously, what Coach Gruden did. He's a really good coach. Obviously, made some bad decisions and stuff. But when it really came down to it, he's trying to win a game, and he's going to have his team's back to do whatever they have to do to win that game. So he did not like that in the slightest, and he paid him back, and it was great. And I was just like, yeah, okay, maybe I was a little bit more excited and jazzed up as the others, because as I'm telling that story, I envision myself being right there on that bus, just pointing and laughing and throwing up all kinds of signs, F you guys, to the fans. And, it would have been a great moment to be a part of and stuff. And yeah, that was all part of the NFL. And, but the others who I was talking to, the Raider fans, so they love hearing this story too. And it's a great moment. All of a sudden, the chief comes into the room and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys up to?" And I said, "Hey, Chief, I'm just talking about about Gruden. Did you see in the news what he did and what he said?" Because I guess they talked to Gruden afterwards, and it was like, "Well, you tell." Well, he said something like, "Well, the reason why I did that was because anytime you have a bus driver think he's Mr. Funny Guy and gonna go all slow when we're trying to get to the stadium for a freaking very important game, and he's gonna take his own time doing a little victory lap, sometimes you just got to do the same thing back." And I thought that was classic. And Chief's like, "Oh, cool." And I'm just like, man, it just reminded me of the Hell Week. Remember Hell Week, Chief? And he's just like, "Well, Hell Week." I'm just like, "Yeah, remember when every time the Chiefs would play the Raiders, you would always burn something red?" And I guess I'm getting too far into it and all that stuff. And I'm looking at the Chief. He has this look, and he's looking like on the people at the people behind me, and I can see out the corner of my eye, they had backed up, and they're like raising their hands, like, "We don't know what he's talking about." And it's like, so apparently, I'm not supposed to be talking about burning red stuff with the chief right there. That's inappropriate. And I'm just like, wait a minute, we were just talking about this like 2-3 minutes ago, and I know the chief would love hearing these stories. What are you guys doing? And I'm just like, and okay, that's people's choices to not embrace the moment, but I can guarantee you that was a missed opportunity for people who might not be considered good old boys or part of the good old boy network, who the chief fits right into that mode as well. So he just goes around and he talks to people how they come at him. He's that professional, and that's his job. He just has to relate to everybody at his department and make sure everybody's doing good. And just, like I said, when he's able to, he wants to just be chill and just be one of the boys and be one of the guys. And that was a great moment to make that happen. But it was a missed opportunity, and it was an awkward moment how it ended up. And Chief's like, well, yeah, I don't know anything about Hell Week, but you guys take care. I'm like, all right, Chief, take care, Bill. And I look, and once they left, then they went back to like, hey, so what did Gruden say again? I was like, shut up. I'm not talking about this anymore. I was so mad at those guys for acting like that. You just have to have that. I get it. I get it. Some people just prefer to have a sense of professionalism that doesn't cross the borders, and they rather play it safe when it comes to certain things. I guess there's certain protocols at the police department, and I get it. But all I can say is that I was a police officer for many more years than those guys were at the moment, and I can tell you, I haven't seen anything that would remotely symbolize that you would get in trouble for talking to your either supervisor or your watch commander or your chief in a way that's social and very engaging, especially when that chief is wanting to be spoken to that way, I've never seen anything come back to bite, or where you say it's just you have to have enough confidence in your abilities to talk and have that ability to communicate anyway. Just don't say anything that you wouldn't say to anybody else in any other freaking situation. That's as simple as that. I mean, I remember when we first got cameras, the PVRSs, the cameras that are attached to your front of your uniform to capture everything out there. It went through a trial phase at first, and then so a few of the officers and supervisors here and there started wearing them, and you would be told, hey, be mindful because we're going to be testing these out, and so we're going to be going to all department wise in part of our policy here soon, but we're just troubleshooting it all to make sure we got it all together, and so be mindful of what you're saying. And so I remember one time we were end of the shift or whatever, or saw one of the people who had a camera on, and they started, so how's everything going? I said, well, we just got done coming out of a lineup where, our one of the captains came in and, chose to give an award, an attaboy award to somebody who's not even on our shift. Who did something that wasn't that spectacular, and it just was kind of like we thought it was a slap in the face that he would come down to our lineup where this is our shift, and this other person that he acknowledged doesn't even work. He's not working that shift. He's like vacation relief or whatever, or he's just there working for somebody, and then he chose to pick that day to come down there and have the guy come up and give him an award and all that stuff, and I just thought that was very tacky. And so as I'm talking, the same person I'm talking about who had the camera was like, waving me to stop talking. And I said, I don't care. I don't care if he does hear this or she does hear this. All right, so I'm gonna cover myself. I don't care whoever hears this and stuff. I would say the same thing to that particular person. I just, I thought it was tacky. And it was, maybe I just was senior, and I just know that you have the ability to say how you feel as long as you say it in a very respectful way. I wasn't saying it in a disrespectful way. That's just how it happened. I would have preferred that if this person was going to be acknowledged for his hard work, do it on a different shift, or this was my shift, and I know our people work our butts off to maintain the integrity and take care of our beats, and handle our calls appropriately. I just thought that maybe that captain thought that we needed to step up our game, and this was a way to kind of light fires under us or something like that. But like I said, I was one of the senior guys, and I didn't think that was appropriate. So all I did was just take advantage of the opportunity to some command staffers to say, hey, look, can you guys not do that? I mean, you're talking about building morale. That definitely doesn't build morale when we get kind of slapped in the face like that. And so I've always built that type of personality where if I'm going to say it, I'm going to be comfortable saying it in front of that person, in front of this person. There's nothing really for me to hide, because if you're really going to actually talk about solving the problem or working something out that works best for everybody, how in the heck are you going to be able to do it if nobody's able to talk to each other or communicate with each other, and you only talk about the good stuff and not the bad stuff? So, that's all I'm saying. Feel comfortable in your abilities to communicate. And that's one thing that I'm quite sure that I was able to gather and gain from my time with Oakland, not only from me being taught the arts of the world from Mr. Davis, but his partner, Miss Amy Trask, was just as confident, just as qualified at her position. She ended up going up the ladder from lawyer to advice counsel or whatever it's called, to head CEO. and just did a fantastic job. I remember being at some games and stuff like that where a few of us complained about the hotel's room. Some of the rooms didn't have amenities right. Some didn't have heat. Some the TV weren't working, and I went down there to complain and all that stuff. And Amy just happened to be down there, just ripping into the managers about some of the problems at the hotel. And I come in and I said, well, my TV's not working. And she's like, yeah, you hear that? Here's another room we're not paying for. And she just ripped it. I was like, all right, okay. I think it's going to be all handled because you got it to the right person. And she put a lot of pride in her work. Community people loved her. She was the face of the organization. And even when I went off to play, or I'm sorry, to don the police uniform, and she would always give me respect if I called her up for anything. She was right there. She was one of the first to send me money for to sponsor my trading cards as a police officer. Everybody gets the opportunity to get their photo taken if that's what you want, if you want to get the trading card. And then you have your own like little saying on the back, and then you can have the whoever sponsored you have their logo on there as well, and to give accolades to those people. So my trading card had me standing out in front of the police car, out at the San Leandro Marina, looking all cool and all that stuff, looking like a young rookie. And then in the back is the Raiders logo, saying sponsored by the Silver and Black, and it was cool. That was all part of Amy's what she brought to the table. She would send me emails saying, "Hey, can you help us out?" They would have like functions where they were trying to like what was got first and goal, I believe, was some of the different programs. You go there and you be part of the coaches staff, and then they would have like these gatherings up in the East Club or East West Club at the time at the Coliseum. And then uh, you know a lot of people who aren't very familiar with the NFL rules and all that stuff, you get a chance, they get a chance to ask questions, you watch film, and then you kind of go through some really cool stuff. And all this were programs that Amy pushed for, and wanted to really connect with the community. I know she was instrumental in when it came time to try to negotiate a new stadium. All these different things is where Amy came into play to try to do everything she could to maintain the team in Oakland. It just, I mean, when you're dealing with a city that's structured the way it is, as far as like it's a political system, it's a nightmare. And but I remember speaking with her, and um, she was not hesitant to explain how much they would love to sit down again and have another meeting with the city staff to try to talk out an agreement or arrangement for the team. Now, I've already said that Amy kept it real. So you might have your doubters or whatever saying that the team didn't do much to try to work with the organization or with the city of Oakland to try to stay, and that's BS. I know for a fact that they did, and it just didn't work out. And when we get her on the phone to be able to kind of talk and kind of learn some more about her, I'm going to try to ask her if she can tell me what happened, because all of a sudden, she's their main person, CEO, in control of pretty much all operations. And then next thing you know, she made the decision that it was time to retire. I have my own personal beliefs of what happened, just because I saw the same type of element in the NFL. It doesn't matter. As at some point, somebody below you or whatever is going to want what you have, and they're going to go through great lengths and stoop to all kinds of levels to steal it from you or take it from you. And you have to make the decision: do you compromise your morals and values as a individual, and play these underhanded, shady games that whoever else is playing, or do you just say, "Hey, look, I'm not gonna stoop to that level. If you're gonna play these type of games, then you're gonna have to do it without me here. That's what I think, but we'll see. She made a fantastic statement when I talked to her and I asked her, like, hey, are you cool talking about this or that? She was like, I'll tell you what, if I don't want to answer the question, I'll just politely not answer the question. I was like, fair enough. So here we go. We're about to get ready. I'm about to go to break. And when we come back, we're going to have Miss Amy Trask, former CEO of the Oakland Raiders, now one of the co-chairs of the Big Three basketball league, along with several big name peoples as well. She's also works with several NFL networks as far as like as being a commentator, and every time she talks, she brings up some brilliant thoughts that has everybody in that room, in that panel, just sitting back and just listening. It's the same type of stuff that you would expect from having a conversation with Mr. Al Davis. So I think she's learned from the best, and she maintains that title of top executive in the NFL right now. And I believe that there's still more things she plans on doing here in the future. So guess what, guys? We're going to keep it going, and we'll be coming back here real soon. Kshed Uncuffed, episode 10. We'll be back. Kshed Uncuffed. It brings me great pleasure to introduce you guys to by far one of my favorite people ever. She means a lot to me in so many different ways, just because of the strength that she carries on a daily basis. And even still, she's right in the thick of this NFL thing, teaching everybody about the proper ways to do this, the proper way to think, the proper ways to set up a team. And a lot of these panelists and these NFL analysts, they're sitting there like they're speaking with like one of the Beatles members, listening and just like, oh my God, in awe. Miss Amy Trask brings so much to the table. Everybody, here's my best friend right here. Go ahead, Amy, how are you?
Kenny, I am so honored and so delighted to join you. I really am. I will use my mother's expression. I am tickled pink to join you for this conversation. And I'm smiling ear to ear. I will never, ever think of you without thinking of that game in 1997. You chased Billy Joel Tolliver out of the end zone, got the safety. I think there were like 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. It was just before the 2-minute warning. And you returned a fumble, 25 yards. Thank you again. Thank you forever.
You know what? Thank you. I was highly motivated. And it sounds strange, and you probably won't believe it, but I was definitely jazzed by looking up into like the boxes where I knew like you and Mr. Davis were watching down at us and saying, how do I keep those guys happy with my performance? I mean, you guys were the perfect 1-2 punch when it came to like administrative type decisions and player personnel. You, my friend, I think you could have been a coach. You could have been a scout. You could have been.
You're very funny. And I will tell you one more thing for your listeners about that game.
Yeah.
We beat the Falcons by 5 points. Well, you got the safety for 2. You returned the fumble for I think it was like a 25-yard fumble return.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's 5 points, but.
Yeah.
As to being a coach, there were times I would say during games to Al, something would be happening on the field, and I would just say, I want to go down there, and I want to do this, and I want to. And at first he'd like smile, and he'd say, okay, and then he'd say, don't do it, and he'd stop me at that last minute. So I never did run down the field.
You had a plan, huh? When you got down there. Yeah, and were you seeing the same things that I was seeing, like that unfairness from the refs and all these different ghost calls and stuff?
I had a different view on that than Al did. He didn't agree with me. I know that a lot of Raider fans don't agree with me, but I always cited to Al Hanlon's razor. And I did this in the business context a lot with respect to things that the league did that Al would say, look, they're out to get us. Look what they've done again. And Hanlon's razor teaches us never attribute to mendacity that which can be explained by incompetence. And, so sometimes there were things done by officials on the league that on the field that people jumped to say that was, they're out to get us, they're out to get us. And I would say, or else that was just a really incompetent call. So, I never really bought into the conspiracy theory, and Al and I had, stern, strenuous, loud disagreements on that. And then I would say, and he would agree with me on this, that even assuming for the moment he was right, then the answer is you just need to be better than everybody else.
Wow.
We just need to be better than anybody who feels they're in the position where they are not being treated, where there's officiating bias, where calls are going against them. Okay, be better. Be better than everyone.
Yeah. Wow.
Not that that's easy for me to say, right?
Well, no, it's kind of cut and dry as that. I wish that was the case, and I wish sometimes obviously adrenaline kind of gets you to do stuff. I mean, like it's easy for me to say that now. Sitting there watching the games and like, come on, man, that was a late hit. What are you doing? Of course you're going to throw the flag. But
okay, let me make this clear, because I just gave a whole, the way I talked to Al about let's not assume it's bias. Let's assume it's incompetent. It was a fumble. Just so we're clear on that. In New England, that was a fumble.
I'm glad you went there, because I have that circled as one of my big questions, because it sounded like a couple analysts were asking you that, and you went in great detail and in depth as far as like 100% that was a fumble.
Well, and let's also remember, and boy, now you're getting me all het up.
I'm trying to. Let's do it.
It was a fumble. But the other thing is, the standard of review was, it had to be, unequivocal. There could be no doubt whatsoever. If you were going to overturn that, it had to be clear and convincing. It had to be obvious. It had to be, I forget the exact words at the time because I'm getting myself all worked up. But there's no way anyone will ever convince me that there was anything clear and convincing about that evidence.
Yeah. Wait. As far as like it not being a fumble?
No, my point was it was overturned.
Yeah.
And in order to overturn,
got it.
You had to have absolutely dispositive evidence.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You just hit it right there. I mean, so on that particular case, it sounds like you're gonna give the exception. Yeah, they're out to get us in that one.
Well, and we can have that whole. And I guess I will, in a very, very serious note, make this point, because a lot of times people jump on me and say, Amy, you make the point it was a fumble, because it was. Get over it. Get over it.
What?
Said, that's the fun of sports.
Yeah.
The fun of sports is we don't have to get over things. We can argue good-naturedly in the spirit of sportsmanship, in good fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in life we need to get over. Well, that's the fun of sports. We don't need to get over things as long as we are good sports about it.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, it doesn't get raised up and no one's fighting.
Right.
You're right. Even Tom Brady is being silly about the whole thing now. I don't know if you saw that video he made about a month or so back. He's like, oh, by the way, guys. And he looks left and right. He's like, I think it was a fumble.
Well, I did see it.
Yeah.
And, he got a lot of pushback from that, and then he walked it back.
What?
And, I know what the standard was. It was incontrovertible visual evidence. And that was my point about that. Even if you want to argue, and I'm not saying you do, even if someone wants to argue about whether they believe it was a fumble or not, it was ruled a fumble.
Yeah.
Tell me where the incontrovertible visual evidence is. Now, this girl went to law school, and I'm telling you, that didn't meet that standard of proof.
I knew that you were gonna find the exact verbiage because your lawyer background.
I did see the Brady thing, and he did walk that back. I think he took a lot of flack for that. But I'll say it again. People who want to say, and people do shout it, get over it, get over it. That's the fun of sports. we don't need to get over things the way we do in other parts of our life. And I will say again,
Uh-huh.
as long as when we are having these discussions, we are doing it in good fun and good spirit and the spirit of sportsmanship, have fun.
Oh, wow. Here, Miss Trash. Hey, so is that I mean, obviously you learn some solid information in regards to law and you're a great speaker. I'm kind of curious, how did you end up in at University of Berkeley from the LA area?
Well, I will always remember sitting around the table with my mom and dad, and my dad said, it's time to start thinking about college. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go to Berkeley and I'm going to live at school. And he looked at me and said, no, you're going to do what your brother and sister did, and you're going to go to UCLA and you'll live at home for your first year. And I said, no, I'm going to go to Berkeley and I'm going to live at school. And back and forth and back and forth and back and forth we went. But I just had my heart set on Berkeley, and it was a wonderful place for me to be.
Oh, wow.
And I loved it.
Oh, wow. I just got a chance to actually kind of drive through the campus there, and I didn't even know where the football stadium was until I almost ran over the side into it, because it like sits right there in the middle of campus, and it's kind of like it just pops up on you, right? Was that a
Strawberry Canyon?
Is that what it's called?
It's beautiful. It's absolutely a beautiful, beautiful location.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. And then you went to my favorite school. I've always dreamt about playing for USC. What was that like?
How is Northern Iowa not your favorite school? And by the way, I think I should call your alma mater and say Kenny just dissed you on his podcast.
If you'd like to make a call. Hey, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, it's funny that you said that, because the reason why I ended up in Northern Iowa is because those cats took me out one night, said, "Hey, come join us for a visitation," and then they took me out, and I partied my butt off with those guys, and woke up the next morning like, "Oh heck yeah, I'm going here." Now, that was my reasoning.
Did we just let a little secret out of the bag?
Hey, do you know what the name of my podcast is? Kshedduncuffed. I couldn't say this when I was a cop, but I'm not a cop anymore.
Okay, well, and by the way, I was going to, at some point during this discussion, compliment you on the creative name of your podcast, because having gone from football into policing, and I don't even like the word policing because it shouldn't be a gerund, it should be like a noun, or I don't know. We won't get into parts of speech, but into the police force. And there's nothing wrong with people who like the word policing. I'm just a grammar girl, and it bugs me when people sort of do that. So that aside, I want to tell you how really, really, really neato I think it is that you did just what you did, and went on to have the off-field career that you did. And I thought it was just really creative that you named your podcast as you did. Very clever.
It just came about too. I just Nisha and I were just playing with the camera, and I said, okay, let's just hang the jersey up, and and then I'm gonna hold something, and I'm just like, there was an old pair of cuffs, and just hand me those right quick, and we just made it up on the fly.
It's terrific. It's just a perfect play on words.
Well, thank you, and 20 years, and I still got big plans, and you're still doing big things, right? Even to this day. How do you have that type of energy?
What was that? Gosh, I forget what it was. That movie where the guy says, "I'm not dead yet."
Oh,
come on! What was that movie?
I'm not dead yet.
Well, we'll think of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a movie I really liked.
It sounded like it was a Sean Connery movie.
I'm having fun. I'm doing things. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. There may be more fun things to come, and whatever adventure is next, I look forward to.
Oh man! So Big Three, yeah. That's still freaking killing it right now. There's so many questions I want to ask you. But let me ask you about Big Three now. But I wanted to ask you, so we have to come back to that, because I'm hoping you'll be able to answer me as far as like what happened to the stadium issue down in LA. How come the whole new stadium didn't happen down in LA the first time? But everything seemed like it was all in place, right?
That is a long, long, long discussion. discussion, perhaps better for another day.
Okay.
But I will say there were obstacles thrown in our path. There were issues that arose. But I also know that it was in Al's heart to bring the team back to Oakland. He had a
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very special connection with Oakland. And at the end of the day, that is what he chose to do.
Meaning coming back to Oakland.
Right, from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I wasn't with the team when he moved it from Oakland to LA. I was with the organization when he moved it from Los Angeles back to Oakland.
Yep.
And yes, there were business obstacles in the way of completing the deal in Los Angeles. Kind of, in my view, not even worth going into them because it never happened.
Yeah.
But I will say that it also was in his heart to move back to Oakland. He loved that market.
Oh, I know. I'm not I have the pleasure of saying that I was all Oakland. I don't think that I would have liked LA, and that's the reason why I was kind of asking to kind of see, overall was it a good experience? I talked to some of the guys who might have been more into movies and all that stuff, thought it was good because of the Hollywood being down there, but overall, I don't know if the fan experience was, the connection between the fans and the players, was the best because sometimes the stands were bare.
And it depends, as you just noted, it depends on who you ask as to whether they thought it was a good experience or not.
Yeah.
LA is a very, very different type of market. You've got a lot of things, you've got two football teams, which you did when the Raiders and the Rams were both in town. Now it's the Rams and the Chargers. You've got two baseball teams. You've got two basketball teams. Now you've got soccer and women's soccer and hockey and
yeah.
You've got the beach and you've got the mountains. And look, the Bay Area is a crowded market as well, but LA is just a different kettle of fish.
Yeah. Well said. Well, yeah. I mean, the experience in Oakland was a blessing, and I was speaking to the audience earlier as far as like I know the executive staff did everything they could to get a new stadium in Oakland.
Again, a very, very long discussion.
Yeah.
I thought that there could have been a deal in Oakland. Obviously, I was gone and was not working on it at the time. And ultimately, ownership decided to move the team, and now that chapter has been written.
Yeah, and and I had the pleasure of saying that I was there, and I remember some of the conversations we would have as far as like, because I was part of the Save Oakland sports team, if you remember, and so I can speak for you. I know that the executive team did everything they could from the at the very beginning to work with the city of Oakland, and like I said, yeah, it ran its course, and yeah, so and they got a really good thing going down to Las Vegas. Do you plan on going to any games at all?
Well, I work on Sundays now, and I work on, so it's going to be logistically dependent. I have not been down to any. I have seen the stadium. It is a magnificent, magnificent building. I don't know that I'll go to any games down there. I'm now on the advisory team for the East-West Shrine Bowl, and that game will be in that stadium. So even if I don't make it there for an NFL game, I should be there for the Shrine Bowl. And it is a magnificent, magnificent stadium. And I'm often asked, what my thoughts are about the move. And what I try to explain to people, and it often doesn't resonate, perhaps I don't explain it well enough, is my views are not mutually inconsistent. I can believe both of these things. I do believe both of these things. I feel them strongly. For those fans who are thrilled with the move and are excited to join the team in Vegas and watch the team in Vegas, I'm delighted for them. And for those fans who are in the Bay Area and whose hearts are broken, or in some instances whose hearts are broken for the second time, my heart is with them. In other words, it's not mutually exclusive for me to be heartbroken for the fans who are heartbroken and delighted for the fans who are delighted. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. Here's a little secret. Not everything in life is mutually exclusive.
I get it. Everything you just said just was almost like I feel the exact same way, You
You can
know,
be happy for the fans that are happy, and you can be sad for the fans that are sad, and I am both.
I agree. And one thing that was comforting for me is that um, just recently, after reading in the the online or whatever, there was some news clips going around that the Raiders organization was in dysfunction and all these different things. And I go down there on my own. Unexpectedly, it wasn't like I was part of like any event or anything like that. I got myself down there because I wanted to just kind of see. So I go and I get a tour of the place, and I obviously have good friends who are still there, and they take me around, they show me the new facility and all that stuff, and I left out of there. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this organization. They are a well-oiled machine. I can go back to the Bay Area and know that they have something going on and blossoming down in Las Vegas. And to your point, I was just watching the game, one of the first preseason games down in Oakland off Jack London Square, and having a blast with the Oakland Raider fans who are watching their team play. It was mind blowing how exciting it is both places, But it's tough.
As we said, not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, but I'm sure that we're gonna make it work, and who knows how everything's gonna play out, and but it looks like that this Las Vegas chapter so far is starting out on. Even though that there was a couple bumps in the road as far as like some personnel decisions and stuff, I mean, those are shocking because I knew those people, and it's unfortunate. Those are instances that it just didn't work out how they thought. I'm sure.
Well, it's going to be an interesting division to watch this year, as you well know.
Uh-huh.
I think the AFC West is the best division in the NFL across the board. I mean, there are certainly good teams in other divisions, but when you look at the AFC West, any one of those teams can win the division, and any one of those teams can advance deeply within the playoffs. Now, of course, that presupposes, as you well know, that there are no key injuries, no injuries to key players. We all know it's a game of seconds, it's a game of inches, and at any moment there can be a tragic, season determinative injury. Putting that aside, it's any one of those teams' division, any one of the teams in that division can win it. And what's interesting to me is that because teams within a division spend so much of the season beating up on one another, it is possible you will have a team from the AFC West not make the playoffs and lesser teams from other divisions make it.
Whoa. Okay. I could see that. I mean, Denver? Come on now. Seriously? Denver? You think Denver's in the mix?
I think the world of Russell Wilson. I have for eons. I have said for innumerable years that I think he's a tremendous quarterback. I'm excited to see what he does in Denver, where they are giving him a say and a role in determining what that offense is and building it to best suit him. I think we're going to see an exciting Russell Wilson.
I am a big Russell Wilson fan. I agree. It's just hard for me to get the vision of that game where we went out there and it was snowing, and then the refs let the fans throw snowballs and ice balls.
Okay, we're going to talk about the snowball game before we wrap up at some point. Let me just tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm the girl who followed Lincoln Kennedy into the stands because I'm walking off the field. Lincoln's ahead of me.
Uh-huh.
They're pelting our players with snowballs. That was not okay with me. I see Lincoln going into the stands, and for those listeners who don't know, I'm a little smaller than Lincoln Kennedy, by, just a tad. Well, I think, I'm going to go in and protect Lincoln Kennedy. I've got Lincoln's back. I'm going to protect Lincoln. Lincoln's probably 5 times my size. But I went right in those stands after him, and there's people from the team, players, coaches yelling, Amy, come back, and they're trying to grab me out of the stand. I remember that snowball incident.
Yeah.
It still makes me all mad.
It does, and it was, it was unfortunate because it's a vision that it's hard to get out of your head because Lincoln Kennedy is one of the most well-respected football players who has an ability to stay calm under all conditions.
Oh boy!
But
it is my goal at some point to get Lincoln to take a role in helping fix the things that need to be fixed in society as a whole. He is so smart, and he stays calm, and you're absolutely right. He's the last person you would expect, but they were pelting him with snowballs, and it was my job to protect him, so I like to think I did.
I could totally. I was right there with you. There's been several times where, and then so there's Denver. It's hard for me to kind of give them too much, and then Kansas City, obviously, and then I try to give them the respect and stuff, but one thing I can say about the Raiders, and it sounds like if you look at their preseason games so far, that they are limiting the mental mistakes, and it goes back to what you were saying before. They have to play better, and not get flagged, not make those stupid penalties and stuff, because 100% the ref is going to throw the flag. If these guys limit their penalties, and that's what the new coach is bringing to the table. He's punishing these guys for making stupid mental mistakes, and that probably should have been done a while ago, in my opinion.
And stay healthy. I mean, look, there's a good quarterback on every one of the 4 teams in that division. People will rank the 4 quarterbacks differently, but at the end of the day, those are 4 very good quarterbacks. Each team has to hope its quarterback stays healthy the entire season. And I think I was about to say Oakland. I should have to put money in a jar every time I do that. I still sometimes say San Diego instead of
I do too.
But I think that the Raiders' defense is going to be very improved this year. I think they've done a lot to improve the defense, and that should be exciting.
Oh my goodness, I agree. Definitely looking forward to it. Before I forget, there was a shout out that one of the business owners out in Napa, Miss Katie Schaefer, who owns Feast It Forward. It's like this elaborate winery that has everything out there. It's like a mix of a live studio where they do a live cooking show. Down below is a tasting room and bar and tasting room, and on other the sides there's like a lounge where people can kind of do nights tastings and stuff as well. They got like a blues bar there, and Katie and I've been out there a couple different times and stuff. We were talking about working together on some different projects and stuff, but she remembers you from the Napa days, and she wanted me to tell you hi, and she misses you.
Wow. Well, give her my very, very, very best. Of course, I remember that she was a soccer player before jumping into Feast It Forward. If I'm correct about that, I think that I am.
I bet you are.
And please give her my best and wish her my best.
I 100%. I'm guessing you're right on that one. Hey, can I ask you a question? It's a lawyer question.
Okay.
All right. It's kind of a loaded question too.
I'm ready.
All right. So you've heard of race norming, right?
Correct.
How in the heck could something like race norming get included in the settlement that comes with the concussion lawsuit for the NFL players? Now, I can't confirm or deny whether or not I'm a part of that or not, but it's amazing to me that a group of lawyers on the other side could not see something like that being implemented and would put a stop to it right off the bat. It didn't happen.
I couldn't say that any better than you did. I would use a worse word than heck, but I won't say it on the podcast.
I started
to. You said how in the heck, I would say how in something else.
Yeah.
And I don't know how someone didn't object to that. First of all, it should never have happened to the point where someone needed to say, hey, this is not okay. It should never have been put in. It shouldn't have required someone to say this is not okay, because it is wrong, 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 wrong. It never should have been in there. Finally, it's out of there, but it never, ever, ever should have been in there.
It's very hurtful,
It's heinous.
Yeah.
Horrific. All the bad words I can think of with H. Horrible, horrific, heinous. I'll think of more H words.
Racist.
Yeah, I was going with H words, but it's
H words.
It never should have been in there. It never should have required someone having to say, "Hey, what the hell is this in here for?"
Yeah.
But someone then, once it was in there, should have said, "What the hell is this in here for?"
So, for those listeners who aren't familiar with race norming, the league is trying to dust it under the carpet again. after even getting exposed. But basically, it's this technique that they included on the testing for the concussion lawsuits, the players who were qualified for a possible settlement, money settlement. So they would have to go to doctors who were assigned by the league officials, and the doctors were told a certain criteria to look for in testing to make sure that, when they're talking about dementia or memory problems and all that stuff. So instead of the fair way, meaning that everybody, the white players, black players, were given the same type of testing criteria, the black players were kind of like given the shaft because they were assumed to be not as smart as the white players. So their level of defect as far as like memory problems aren't going to be as severe as anyone who's white from the very beginning. So use this scale when you have a black player, and then use this scale when you have a white player. And then, so as a result, more white players were getting paid off and qualified for their settlement, and then several black players were dismissed. Unbelievable.
Wrong.
Yeah. I heard a story once, if you don't mind me bringing it up, and I'm sure you don't, because you're just as uncuffed as I am, but you majored in political science, so I know you're going to keep it together all throughout. But anyway, I heard a story that one of the players went to their neurologist appointment that was set up by the league, and they're getting tested on by a professional neurologist. The neurologist is basically cutting things short, not answering the questions that player threw at that particular person. Well, what about this? What about I'm experiencing this as well, and not only this, but I'm also experiencing this too. And I've read that this could be a sign of something else other than just dementia, other things as well. And every time that was brought up, this neurologist would change the subject. And in the end, and then finished up the appointment like really quickly, and then said, "Oh, okay," without answering any questions or asking any questions about that dealt with the memory. They basically just tapped the player's leg, checked the reflexes, looked in the eyes and stuff, and said, "Okay, all right, that'll be it for the day." And then before they left, it's like, "Well, what about these symptoms I brought up?" And then the neurologist said, "Well, I'm just told to look for these certain things. If you have those things, you should see a neurologist." Just like,
I had not heard anything about that.
But the thing was like, wait, you're a neurologist.
I had not heard that. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
isn't that crazy? So yeah, I we'll see what happens and stuff. But in reality, a lot of one of the main reasons why I wanted to start up kshedduncuffed is because there's subject matters out there that I believe need to be brought up, and some of it, or some that I'm sure you've been exposed to, is like suicides by some of the former players, like Junior Seau, who you obviously remember, and some of the others. Rashaan Salam, who I played with, is another one who killed himself after suffering severe mental problems and memory lapses and stuff like that. So I'd like to be able to bring awareness to the table.
Well, I think it's terrific that you are doing that. I think, and this is something I've spoken to over the years, not only should players be taken care of when they are on the field, players should be taken care of after their careers are over, and I hope that the league pours more resources into taking care of the men who have played the game.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate those words. Thank you, Amy. Hey, before we wrap it up, kind of want to hear a review of what you thought of Just Win. But before, I just want to let you know that at first I was going to say, hey, let me ask Amy to keep it, to be nice or whatever. But no, let's hear the unfiltered breakdown of what you thought of the treatment that was sent to you?
Oh, I didn't know we were going to discuss that publicly.
Uh,
I will tell you, I did read it, of course. You asked me to read it, and I did read it.
yeah.
And I guess I will say this: number one, first and foremost, I understand there are a lot of treatments of that, of that nature in the works. So I don't believe that is the only such treatment out there. So
Okay.
you may want to advise your friend to sort of speed up the process so his treatment is reviewed before the others, because I believe a lot of the others are.
Uh-oh.
And I will say this: I think they've been swirling for a while.
Uh-huh.
It's very hard for me to read something like that objectively. You know, when you spend almost 30 years, which is the amount of time I spent with the Raiders, when you spend almost 30 years immersed in something, someone can write the most extraordinary, accurate, interesting treatment, but it just resonates differently when you were there. Now, obviously, a lot of the treatment occurred well before I got there, because I may be old, but I'm not that old. But I do think if it's a treatment that you and your friend want to go forward with, you need to move quickly, because I believe there's a lot of others out there.
Wow. That was exactly what I was needing to hear. You know.
Chop, come on.
Yes, ma'am. Obviously it's not my project. It's not. I don't. I just help promote and try to get it in the right place. But I have my own screenplays and story ideas that I'm focused on. But I will 100%.
Well, I can't wait to read those.
Oh.
I cannot wait for those.
I try to keep it funny, and and I'll send you a couple of our projects and stuff that we're putting together, and I look forward to everything that you have going on. God, man, you are so fun to watch with the Big Three League, and you just make it look easy. Keep doing what you're doing. Before we go, do you have any because whenever I remember seeing you at work, I never thought of you anything other than highly qualified, very strong personality, CEO, top executive of a NFL team. With the new hire in Oakland, Miss Sandra Morgan, she sounds like she's going to be well off, and she's going to do her job very, very well. Do you have any advice for her?
I'm not going to offer her any advice, because I don't believe she needs my advice.
I will
offer the following. I wish her all the very best for success. She is clearly extremely well qualified for the job. She spent years with Covington and Burling, which is the law firm that has represented the NFL for decades and decades and decades. So she's not only qualified in terms of being a lawyer, but having that background and that insight into that relationship. She, of course, spent time as the head of, and I apologize, I don't remember what it was called, the Gaming Board or the Gaming Commission, but in Nevada. So she knows that aspect of the business, which is increasingly important and an increasingly big part of the business. She is from Las Vegas. She knows that market. She is so well qualified for the job that she needs no advice whatsoever from me, other than my best wishes for success.
I love that. Boom, Amy. Fantastic words and stuff. So I will
just tell you, I'm thrilled to be back in contact with you, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, I got 2 daughters. Thank you for what you bring to the table, and that you're a fantastic role model. Okay, you have a great.
Thank you, and thank you for being, as we now know the expression, a girl dad, and for encouraging your daughters to dream and to pursue their dreams.
Amy Trask, everybody. You have a good weekend, okay?
All right, you too.
Take care, Amy. All right, bye. Wow. Wow, I'm like blown away. That went way beyond my expectations of an interview. I just blown away by that lady and what she brings to the table. She hasn't changed a bit, and we're gonna take a break, and then when kshedduncuffed comes back, we're gonna wrap it up, and then we're gonna ease into the weekend, and then look forward to next week when we come on back. Kshed Uncuffed. K Shed. You know what? I'm like blown away right now. It was such a pleasure to have Amy on. She is as solid as they come. Very very bright girl, and just I'm just going over everything she said. It was so well thought out and very clear where she's coming from, and father of two amazing girls. Those are the type of people who I want them to be able to kind of look at and say, yeah, I get it. I'm going to follow your lead. No one's going to tell me different. I'm not going to let anybody get in my way. If there's something I want, I'm going to get it myself. That means so much for a father, and just kind of like my oldest daughter. She's coming in her senior year, and she has the whole world in front of her. I know everybody says that about their kids, but I'm at that point now where I get a chance to see it live. And the other day, we picked up her Letterbench jacket, and this thing is like a work of art. Class president, 3-year letterman, and this sport, track. She's on the dance team. All these different accolades and medals and all that. And what's the another thing that's so beautiful is that her younger sister loves to be able to wear it, because I know that she's envisioning herself the day when she gets to get her own, and she's gonna do exactly the same thing that her sister did when it's her turn. I got two very, very, very strong baby girls and stuff. Mom was a fantastic mother to them, so obviously they're gonna grow up to be just well off, I guess. And it's great to kind of see. So having a type of interview like I just had, it's so many different levels of just appreciation, and this was a good one. So I look forward to my next guest that we're gonna have. I think people are going to be blown away about all the different things that they're going to be learning and hearing from some of the guests that we have in the future as well. And we're just going to keep it going. Thank you guys for everything you're doing. Support. Sounds like that this podcast is doing some good things out there. And let's keep doing it, all right? K Shed, out.